Welcome back. It is Monday, March 18th in the NBA. My three favorite picks are on the way. It's Austin from Calling a Shot, joined today by your guys' second favorite special guest. If you know, you know. Logan is back, and we're going to recap technically not yesterday, on Saturday, a 4-in-1 day. As you guys know, no video on Sunday, but hey, 4-in-1 day on Saturday, we certainly will take it. Let's talk about it. I had LeBron's over in PRA, sweat-free. Jalen Green over in points, sweat-free too. Logan had to sweat out Grizzlies plus 9.5 per usual, but they covered. They got the job done. Our fourth winner technically wasn't a full winner, as we did have a two-leg parlay, and John Collins did not play. It was like a minus 350 cash, but hey, we're building the bankroll. We can't complain about that. Our only loser was Tyrese Maxey's under in points. He ended with 30. I think he attempted the most free throws he's attempted in about 3 months, which sounds about right for our unders, as Logan would know. It's just been a bad stretch, but don't worry, no unders today. We will, though, I want to note, we will probably have an added play down below in the pinned comment, so definitely check that out. You only see 3 picks in this video, but we will have an added one, so definitely check out that pinned comment and see what we got cooked up for you guys. Before we dive into the picks, though, today, I want to talk about one quick thing, and that is a free square. Right now, for new users, it's for our boy, Jalen Brunson, to score 1 point. It's on Sleeper. Not only would we get that free square, you got to make sure you sign up using our code COS or the link in the description. But you also, and in addition to the free square, which is pretty cool in itself, you also get a match on your first deposit up to $500. A really good offer. Definitely take advantage of Sleeper. They have a bunch of free squares coming up this week. So if you can't get the Jalen Brunson one, you can still use our code COS. I think they got one lined up for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. They do a ton of cool discounts over there. We love Sleeper. Now, Logan, I'm going to dive into my first prop. Then we're going to go to you and then another prop. I'm going to dive into the first one. There's a guy that I really like today. I love this matchup. It's DeJounte Murray of the Atlanta Hawks over 25.5 points, minus 108 on FanDuel. Now, there's a chance this line goes back and forth, could go up, could go down. I don't really know, because there is some injury news for the Atlanta Hawks. Now, right now on their injury report, nothing's really listed because they just played last night against the Clippers. They blew them out. Now, which a lot of people were riding with the Clippers, and they just got smoked. Now, in this game, it is a back-to-back. So will Jalen Johnson, who just returned a few games ago, play? Will DeAndre Hunter play? I don't really know. And obviously, we would love if either of those two guys sat, and that would obviously help us out here. But I'm still confident in Murray to get 26 points tonight in a pretty good matchup against the Lakers. Now, over his last 5 games, you don't want to read too hard into this because they had some injured guys in there. Jalen Johnson, most notably, was out. But in these last 5, Murray, 41, 23, 40, 33, and 21 points, going over in 3 of 5. Not too shabby. We would love a 40-point outing from him. And the 2 unders, one of them, he shot 7 for 20. And the other one last night, only 7 for 14 against the Clippers. It was a big team effort last night. It wasn't just Murray, who played pretty well, had 21 points and 10 assists, but you also had Bogdan Bogdanovic playing well, DeAndre Hunter played well, Jalen Johnson played well. And like I said, they blew out the Clippers, and you really saw him only play 34 minutes. In close games or in games that they're trailing, DeJounte could see upwards of 40 minutes. You've seen him play 43 minutes before. Now, granted, that was when they were pretty banged up, but he's their real only point guard out there, and they're going to need him. And I really like this matchup. As I said, over the last 5 games, Murray's been really good, but how does he score his points? Well, 50% of his points, exactly 15 points per game over these last, 5 games, have come via pull-up jump shots. That's kind of his game. They get a lot of screens set for him and kind of walks into a lot of three-pointers and mid-range shots. And look, over the last 10 games, the Lakers allowed the 3rd most pull-up jump shots in the NBA. That is basically what they bleed. They give up a lot of those pull-up jump shots because you see Anthony Davis, or if he doesn't play his backup Jackson Hayes, they sag in the paint. And when they set screens, you see Capella setting screens. It's not like they're coming out to defend Capella on a pick and pop. They're like, all right, well, hey, DeJounte Murray walking into a jump shot. And I think that's basically what they're going to give a lot of tonight. And we're just asking Murray to knock down those shots. Obviously, if he only shoots 14 times like he did last night, probably in a tough spot. But like I said, this is just a really good spot for him to walk into a lot of pull-up jump shots. And he's been shooting the ball really well, making a lot of his three-pointers, but also just making a lot of his shots in general. Obviously, is he capable of a bad night? And it is a back-to-back. Could the bad shooting and the legs not be under him? Yes, but I'm going to trust the matchup here. This is a guy that plays a lot of minutes. And if they are trailing, he's kind of like any other, star. They're going to be like, all right, well, we're trailing. I got to do it myself. He's going to bring that out, and hopefully he's making those shots. So I really like Murray tonight, over 25.5 points. Hard to navigate a weird NBA slate tonight. It's a lot of games, but a lot of weird matchups that you don't typically see. I really like DeJounte Murray tonight. I got another prop coming in a few minutes, but Logan, I'm going to throw it to you for your favorite spread of the day. What you got?
Yeah, I'm going to a home underdog for my spread, and I'm taking the Utah Jazz plus 7.5, minus 105 odds on Bet365, your best value there. Now I'm back in the home underdog Jazz. Pretty much the only role I do want to back the Jazz in. Lauri Markkanen, let's look at the injury report. Lauri Markkanen is a game-time decision. Obviously, it would be great for line value if he did end up playing, because I think this one might tick down a few points if he is for sure in. But with my analysis, I'm going to go ahead and assume he's out. If he's in, that would be a great surprise because offensive presence like him would be great. But the Jazz have lost 3 straight to the Timberwolves this season and failed to cover in all 3, losing by 28, 11, and most recently 19 points. They just played on Saturday. Just on percentages alone, they're primed for a cover in this spot because the line opened as Jazz plus 6.5, even lower than the closing line of the Timberwolves just in Utah at 7.5. Why would the odds makers, you just have to ask yourself, why did the odds makers tick this one down? They haven't been close to really covering this line. I mean, 11-point loss was their closest loss in this one. To me, it's really rare to see the odds makers misprice another game between these two teams, and I'll take my chances back in the Jazz at home, given how good they've been. They're 22-12 against the spread and use the elevation to their advantage to oftentimes cover these spreads. In the fourth quarter, when these games are decided, where the cover's decided most often, Utah just has that elevation edge. The tired legs of the other team sort of impacts their shooting. And on the season, the Jazz shoot 37% from 3 and are top 10 in attempts and makes. They live by the 3, you die by the 3. And the Jazz absolutely died by the 3 on Saturday. They only shot 23% from 3 on Saturday. They're a better shooting team than that. It was just a perfect recipe of a blowout in that one. They shot terribly and the Timberwolves shot good. But let's talk about them. Keontae George, he went 1 for 7 from 3, and Taylor Hendricks went 2 for 7. The looks were there, but the shots just weren't falling. And again, we can't go out and make the shots for these players, but I think it's a really solid look to say, I think they'll shoot better today. It's just a law of averages type sport. It's just like baseball. I mean, you're not bad every day. You're not good every day either. I expect the number to be better for Utah today, and I'd be surprised if Minnesota shot as efficiently from 3 as they did. They shot 46% from 3 when their season average on the road is like 38.8%. So they shot above their average, and Utah shot way below theirs. It was the perfect recipe for a disaster if you were back in the Jazz in that one. Another good stat that kind of came out of that game, and why I think Utah should certainly be able to hang around in this game, they won the rebounding edge. That's big against a team like Minnesota that plays really great defense. If you can get those rebounds, get those maybe second chance points, I think we'll stand a really good chance at being able to cover this spread. Utah will find a way to cover that 7.5 for us. The value is there back in the Jazz at home. They could win this game outright and just shock the world, but I definitely will take the points for safety. I think that's just way too many points in this matchup. I think the Jazz are competitive and cover the 7.5 as home underdogs for us. But Austin, got another player prop for us. Where are you going?
Yeah, there's worth noting for the Jazz pick is that Rudy Gobert could play, and maybe that fluctuates the line, and maybe it goes up to 8.5. If you get a better number, obviously take it. We really like the Jazz tonight. Now, my third pick of the day will arguably be my favorite prop, but like I said, we will have a fourth play added in the pinned comment. Definitely check it out. Waiting on some lines for a couple different things, but it is going to be a New York Knick. We've been really good on Knicks props. I haven't really bet on this guy. It is Josh Hart. Obviously, of the Knicks over 21.5 points plus rebounds, minus 117 on Caesars. Now, there's a couple books moving on up to 22.5, which I do like. However, if you're going to look at the 22.5, definitely take a peek at his PRA line. His PRAs was 26.5. I'd rather take the 26.5 PRAs than taking the 22.5 points plus rebounds. I honestly was trying to flip a coin. Which one did I like more? I went with points plus rebounds because I don't really want to count on a lot of Knicks to make shots off of assists on the road, but I really do think there's a chance, Hart could flirt around with the triple-double today. That wouldn't surprise me a ton. Now, in 12 games since the All-Star break, obviously the Knicks have been pretty banged up, and they're still banged up, but Hart has recorded 14.8 points per game and 12.3 rebounds per game, obviously well above these lines, and he's actually over this line in 11 of his last 12. Now, since Anunoby did return 3 games ago, he's at 39, 22, and 22 points plus rebounds. So when you're looking at him over in 3 straight, but you could say, hey, that 22 is right on the hook, man. What happens? The line goes to 22.5, and it probably does. Now, yes, you could say, hey, you know what? That's a sharp line. However, I don't really think Hart's played very well these last few games. In fact, not a lot of volume, only 7 and 8 field goal attempts these last 2. And I think this is a spot against a fast-paced Warriors team, a team that's playing a top 10 pace in the last, 10 games. And now if Steph Curry back, who will speed up the pace, I think there's a spot where we get a very fast-paced matchup. I think Hart's going to be the guy that's left open by the Warriors, and they're going to beg him to beat them. And what I mean by that, well, these teams just played on February 29th, just a few weeks ago. In that game, Josh Hart did play 47 minutes. That's unsustainable. He only rested for 1 total minute, but he's still playing about 40 minutes. So it's not like it was like, all right, that's an anomaly. No. Tom Thibodeau runs him into the ground. But in that game, 14 points and 18 rebounds, 32 points plus rebounds. The biggest part, though, 4 for 17 from the field. Obviously, OG Anunoby did not play, and Brunson still attempted 25 shots. However, this was just a spot where they're like, you know what, Josh Hart, we're leaving you wide open. If you go back and watch the replays, he had a ton of wide open shots and even some shots at the rim that he missed. And I expect him to make those shots today. And I'm not saying you get a Josh Hart legacy a game where he's shooting like 6 for 6 from 3. Unlikely, but he has the opportunities today. And if I'm the Warriors and I have really any team playing the Knicks, and the Kings tried this their best, I'm doubling Jalen Brunson as much as I can and begging Josh Hart to beat me. Now, obviously, they might leave some open opportunities for me, OG Anunoby or Dante DiVincenzo, but if you're just playing percentages games, which the Warriors have done historically, heck, we saw them get kind of burned by leaving Jaylen Brown wide open a couple weeks ago in that game against the Celtics, where Jaylen Brown scored like 30 in the first half, I swear. They were like, we're playing the number of percentages, and he burned them because it's an NBA player. I really think Josh Hart's going to get some open shots here. He also had 7 assists in that last game, so if you want to play some assists, you can. He hasn't had a ton of assists the last 2 games, but he has had the potential assists. Just obviously, like I said, Knicks aren't knocking down shots for him. But I really think this is a spot where Josh Hart gets the volume, and that's kind of all we're looking for. Obviously, we know Hart's capable of 15, 20 rebound type games, which obviously would make this probably pretty sweat free. But he's also, I think, capable of a 15 to 20 point type game in this spot. We can see him get some rebounds and push the pace. We know this Warriors team what they're doing, and they'll probably do it tonight because they play really small ball, so they don't really have a lot of rim protection, and they're not going to come out and double Josh Hart. That's not happening. If anything, Josh Hart has Steph Curry on him, and it's like, all right, well, the ball's getting to Steph, going to Josh Hart. Hey, go one-on-one on Steph Curry, arguably their worst defender. But I really think this is just a spot. Josh Hart gets the volume, gets the rebounds. Obviously, this Warriors shoot a lot of threes. I really like Josh Hart tonight. And like I said, it's probably my best bet of the day. I really like his over in points plus rebounds. So I'm going to ride with Josh Hart. I like that over. Like I said, you can take the PRAs. I'd much prefer 26.5 PRAs over the 22.5 points plus rebounds, but that's just me. Do whatever you guys want. I didn't actually hate his double-double price either, which is about plus 120. And I probably will be sprinkling on the triple-double on the side. But I really like Hart tonight as my second player prop of the day. Like I said, we will have an added play down below. Logan, was there anything else that you stuck out? Like I said, it's a long slate, but a weird slate. And I wonder, do you agree with that?
Yeah, it was a really interesting slate to look at it. You guys know, I really do like gravitating towards the underdogs. So because I find value in the NBA, newsflash, the favorite does not always win or cover. I did look at the Portland Trailblazers today. Really nasty pick. I didn't want to start my week back in the road Trailblazers, but just plus 8 or plus 8.5 against the Bulls. The Bulls are not deserving of that number, especially at home. I hate to tell you that, especially with Kobe White banged up and Caruso banged up. I just don't. I can't get there with the Blazers. I can't name you their rotations. I don't know if that team is trying to win games. So I cannot, in good faith, come on here and take the Blazers right now. Maybe there's value later in the season. I don't know. But it was another team I did look at. As you mentioned, Austin, it is a really interesting slate to kind of navigate. But I like the home Jazz a little bit better than that one.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys want a free prop, I did consider Ayo Dosunmu's under. So he's dropping 20 in the first half. You can get, I guarantee you that. Like, man, the unders are just cooked right now. But we'll get those back on track. And like I said, it is a long slate, but a weird one. But like I said, we will have a fourth and added play down below in the pinned comments. So definitely check that out. We obviously will tweet it out as well as send it to our DubClub and All-Stars as well. But it's Austin Logan starting off Monday with hopefully a 3-0 sleep plus a 4-0 card, which we'll have another one added in the pinned comment. Let's have a wonderful day, and we'll see you guys back again tomorrow, hopefully with the brooms out. We'll see you guys then. Peace.